Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome back to Lazy Couch Thoughts. Today, we're going to be talking about the Championship Sunday games, and we can kind of just dig right in. I don't want this video to be super long. I actually got to get to class, so we can dig right in. First, I went 0-2 this weekend. I thought, if we're going to be 110% honest, I thought the Packers were the better team. I thought the Chiefs were the better team. With Mahomes' uncertainty about his health, I said the Bills would win just because I love Josh Allen. I tried to have so much faith in him. We see where that landed. Patrick Mahomes said, nobody. No. So, yeah, I did the terrible mistake of betting against the GOAT and then also betting against the baby GOAT. And Patrick Mahomes is kind of just the new Tom Brady. Like, you just don't bet against them. No matter what, you don't bet against them. And that's just kind of the way it works. Breaking down the games, we can go to the NFC game first. NFC Championship in Lambeau, Packers-Bucks. The Bucks kind of just went out there and beat them. Like, plain and simple. I thought the Packers were the better team. I still think they are. The Packers played sloppy all game. They played very bad in the red zone. And credit to the Bucks, they didn't. Tom Brady played a terrible second half. With as bad as he played, I'm shocked that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers didn't make him pay for it. And obviously we had the controversy at the end. The refs kind of let the teams play all game. There's really no penalties. There's a few times that Sean Murphy bunting of the Bucs should have been called for defensive holding. One of them led to an interception on Rodgers. The refs didn't call it. They said, no, we're going to let him play. We're going to let him play. We're going to let him hand fight. Then at the end of the game, the Bucs get bailed out on a play. It was holding. It was a penalty. But the problem was they haven't called it all game. Now, I don't really feel sorry for you because I'm a Saints fan, and that was a penalty. Regardless of if they're calling it or not, it was a penalty. Now, I have a problem with, if you're going to call that, call it all game. But if you didn't call it all game, you can't call it there. Be consistent. You let them play like that all game. Now that it's nut crunching time and you're about to give the Rodgers the ball back down 5 with, a minute 40 left, a minute 50 left on the clock, now we're going to bail out the team. Now we're going to let this decide the game. I don't like that. At the end of the game scenarios like that, I don't want flags to be thrown unless it's like super egregious. And if you're not going to call it earlier, you can't call it there, yeah. But at the same time, Packers played really bad in the red zone all game, and they made a terrible decision and kicked a field goal with, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock whenever they were down. Just about 2 minutes left on the clock. They were down 8, and they kicked the field goal. Gave the ball back to Tom Brady. Dude, you deserve to lose. You gave the ball back to Tom Brady. Sean Murphy button is just kind of sick in my head right now. You gave the ball back to Brady with 2 minutes left and said, yo, if you get a first down, you win. And he was like, bet, and he got it. But that's just terrible coaching, Matt LaFleur. And Rodgers, you should have ran that in, dude. You had it. The lane was there to run it in. That would have been a touchdown. If not, you'd have been down at like the 1 or the 2 yard line. Now you're going for it on 4th down. It was just honestly a badly coached game all around. They went for 2 when they really didn't have to. That would have made it a 7-point game instead of an 8-point game because it didn't get the 2-point conversion. If they would get the field goal instead, then maybe you're looking at going for it because you say, 8 yards is a good bit to get, but, might as well try. But then you say, well, I need to get the 8 yards and then I need to get the 2-point conversion. So it's a little bit safer, just kick the field goal and hope the defense can make a stop. Tom Brady looked rough in the second half. They definitely did not win because of Brady. Say the least, their defense is so good. And they're very, very good whenever they're allowed to kind of hold and, interfere with the receivers, never get called for it. But whenever you have a defensive front seven like they have, that's one of the first times this year I've seen the Packers offensive line get dominated like that. And then you have the best linebacking duo in the league with Levante David and Devin White. But this Bucs team is good. I don't know if they're good enough to beat the Chiefs. I don't know if anyone's really good enough to beat the Chiefs right now with the way that they just played. But again, betting against Tom Brady. So congrats to the Bucs. They get to host the first Super Bowl. They get to be the first team to host the Super Bowl in their own stadium, ever. So that's great. But trying to quickly move on here. I don't want this to be a long video. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of this game, go check out the podcast that comes out on Thursday. Second game, probably even less to talk about. The Bills went out there early, jumped up on them 9-0, and the Chiefs were just kind of okay. Like, it was kind of like the LSU Clemson national championship game a few years ago when Clemson, 2 years ago when Clemson jumped out early and LSU was just kind of unfazed. They were just like, okay. And they just went out there and beat them. And that's what the Chiefs did. Like, the Chiefs woke up and they're like, oh yeah, we're the best team on planet Earth. And touchdown, like deep ball to Tyreek Hill, touchdown pass to Travis Kelce, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting in the mix. And it was just an offensive parade. Like, I honestly, like, I'm thinking about this right now, speaking of betting. Anyone that bet the under in that game, dude, the over-under could have been set at like 96. I think I'm still going over on that game. The way that those two offensive were. Josh Allen didn't really play that great. Stephon Diggs really didn't do anything either up until the game was already over. At one point, they were down. Stephon Diggs had like 2 catches for 12 yards up until like halfway through the fourth quarter. You know, when the game's just already over, there's nothing you can do about it. Patrick Mahomes was just Patrick Mahomes. He threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Travis Kelce caught 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had almost 200 yards. Like, the Chiefs are just good. They're just flat out good. And again, like, it always feels like, oh, their weak spot, like their defense, get their defense hold up. Maybe we got to the point where we realize we just think their defense isn't that good because we're so used to seeing how great their offense is. And we're like, no, their offense is just too good. Their defense can't be that good either. Like, their offense is just unstoppably good. And then you add in the fact that Le'Veon Bell didn't even play. You add in the fact that the first round pick and the running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't really healthy coming into this game. He wasn't 100%. But yeah, and then they go hang 38 on the Bills, who have allowed an average of 17 points a game over the last 8 games. The Bills defense, who looks back to form as the number 1 defense they were last season. But to put it plain and simply, we have GOAT versus Baby GOAT coming up in the Super Bowl. Very excited about that. But yeah, these 2 games, the NFC Championship had a lot of controversy. When was the last time we didn't have a lot of controversy in an NFC Championship game? I feel like almost every single one has controversy nowadays. And then the AFC Championship game is kind of a butt whooping. It was a statement when the Chiefs still look perfect. The Chiefs still look like the best team in the NFL that they've been the last 3 years. Let's go 2 years. But yeah, it's pretty much all you have to say about it. Now we get to watch the Bucks go play in their own stadium, which is pretty cool. I mean, congrats to them. They earned it. As a Saints fan, I can't help but to wonder what would be the Saints if Drew would have retired and Tom would have actually came here, because that's what the plan was supposed to be. Obviously, we would be playing in the Super Bowl right now because our team is more talented than the Bucks, but there's a pretty big difference in, let's say, arm talent between Brady and Breeze as of right now. Breeze is just kind of noodled out corpse at this point, and Brady can still get it downfield. Even though he doesn't look as sharp, he can still get the ball downfield. He can still expand the field, yeah, it's just stuff that he couldn't do. But yeah, so I'm trying not to think about it. I've been a Mahomes guy since day one, so I'm probably gonna be cheering for him. But either way, I don't think I'll really care who wins. I'm honestly just hoping for a very competitive game to where it can give me something to do that night and like be entertained the whole time and not have to be like dreading it. But yeah, at this point, if you can't say Tom Brady's the GOAT at this point, you never will, no matter what would have happened. He's one of the greatest athletes and greatest winners of our time and of all time. The fact that guy, I saw a stat, he makes the conference championship game at a higher rate than LeBron James converts free throw attempts. He also makes the Super Bowl at a higher rate than Steph Curry hits a 3-pointer. That's just nuts. I'm going to leave it on that. But anyways, congrats to Tom and the Bucks. Congrats to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Also, Rodgers and Packers and Josh Allen and Bills. You had a hell of a season. You had a great run. And there's no doubt in my mind Bills are going to be back next year. Packers will be back depending on if Rodgers stays or not. Rumor is he's uncertain about his future. I don't know if that means he wants to retire. Maybe he wants to come to the Saints. Yeah, we're in quarterback fantasy land right now. We're convinced that Deshaun, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, somebody's coming here. That's pretty much where Saints fans are at. And I'm sure we're gonna have like Jameis Winston or something, but it's all good. But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. I wanted this video to be like 4 to 5 to 6 minutes. It ended up being 10 minutes. So happy Monday, great present for you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.